Surprise. Yeah, please don't criticize the tan. It's just all kinds of. I got patches everywhere, okay? I kind of don't like to go to the beach to suntan, so I do it at home, but because I'm doing it from a window. I woke up this morning just completely. I don't need these. Excited for today. Excited to do these videos. Like I mentioned, I've never been so excited to do anything in my life, including being an actor, including even going to set. Because when I'm going to set, I'm like, okay, did you learn those lines? Okay, you got it. Okay, so it's not all hunky dory when I go to set, but it's fun. But this is what I've been doing all my life. This is what a lot of people that I encountered or that were exposed to my discourses, they didn't like it, but that's because I was talking to the wrong crowd, and I was quickly, basically I put it away. But essentially it was just something just like it just wanted to come out. When I was a trainer, I would talk my client's ear off, but I made them work. But the point was that the work only gets you so far. It's your mental state that actually gets you there, because out of your mental state you get the hormones and the stuff necessary to make all the changes that you want to make. It starts in your brain. So all the stress that people go to lose weight and everything, and I know right now it looks like I should be the last one to talk, but not really, because I've been working on another project physically. What would you do? I'm tired of looking like a guy. So I'm working on other projects. What happened in Mintaka had been, obviously pretty scarring, but at the soul level, at the karmatic level, we're talking lifetimes of karma, of having to solve this particular problem of what do I do if I relax, if I let myself be me, if I show everybody me, because of the femininity thing. But again, if you consider being Mintaka, like I said, being in a world where your job is just to swim around and be beautiful, sing, basically to beautify every space you go to. So that's what our world was, and then all of a sudden this ugly, disgusting beings showed up and destroyed it all. Now think about what that entails. Imagine a child, a baby, a nice, gorgeous, beautiful baby who's about this big, right? Just barely holding their head up. Now they're sitting up and they're just playing. And they're playing, and all of a sudden they hear a loud noise. And maybe, just to make things more dramatic here, but because they're very real too, maybe is mom crying because dad is beating the crap out of her and he's yelling and is making a huge scene. What is that going to teach that poor baby when that poor baby grows up? How do you think they're going to feel? They're going to feel the same way. If I relax, if I just do something to distract me, if I follow my natural tendencies, if I just be me, something really terrible could happen. These scars go deep. So I've been thinking about that because once I found out my origin, for instance, I don't know if it was necessarily my origin, but this particular lifetime, the one that I spent in Mintaka, it's huge in my lifetime. Look how I'm sitting down. Like this side is very masculine as my left side, and this side is just But these are my two sides. And for I don't know how many lifetimes, I've been hiding the feminine side because of that particular scar of just being fabulous and awesome, and then all of a sudden getting the shock of your life and having your whole world be destroyed. I mean, a child could actually end up blaming themselves, like it was me because I let my guard down, it was me because I was too relaxed, it was me because you name it. A child can come up with something, and imagine a child or a spirit that has been having so many lifetimes and having to repay the same karma. Because if you consider me landing here in Mexico, first of all, it wasn't like we just went from Mintaka to Earth. We have to be moving around. I mean, the Orion Wars were happening, so we ended up moving to Sirius because it was the most immediate and the most welcoming environment. They got the whales and the dolphins over there, and it was wonderful because it was an environment where we could survive, but we couldn't stay there. That's when we ended up in Venus, and then from Venus we ended up on Earth in Lemuria. So it's a huge and I'm still living it. You know how many times I've moved around in my life? You see what I'm saying? That's what I'm trying to get at. That just because you're gay, you're bi, you're trans, or just because you have a particular predilection towards mechanics, or maybe you have a particular predilection to a particular nation and their customs, their religion, it's because you're picking up from where you last left off, or at least you're trying to decipher what happened in your other lifetime. So these memories, just all of a sudden people feel like, I think I want to go to Egypt. My soul spent some time in Egypt, and that's a place where I'm going to end up having to go because my soul says so. My spirit is begging me to do these things. Like it was this morning, like I'm just waking up, I'm like, come on, I'm being driven by my spirit. Like my spirit is like, look over here, look over there, now do this, now do that. And when you do that, you don't really have time to think about your demons, because essentially that same light, it's being used to dispel the demons. You're finding understanding, and through that we find peace, because as I always say, through understanding we find peace. You can be completely confused about your life, for instance, about anything, but then once you understand it, but you don't have to, there's no more confusion, there's no more stress about it, you understand it, so there is peace. So with all of this happening in today's times, and me, thinking, well, if I'm supposed to be of a feminine consciousness, well, then what do I do with that in this very dangerous times? Because I find myself going, no, I can't let my guard down. I can't be awesome and beautiful and amazing. I have to be hard because these mother fluffers could appear at any moment. So by that, I'm shutting down my feminine. But in essence, it's like how I'm standing right here. It has to be the perfect combination. So you're not all of a sudden, hey, if you're to one extreme, you're not a mechanical man. Or if you do the other, you're not some wild animal. You have to be in balance. And in this case, these forces are very much there's a huge contrast between them, because one is like saying, just be beautiful, just be wonderful, and help out, serve your purpose, and the other one is saying, yeah, but if any of these little assholes decide to get fresh, we still got the skills. So it's kind of trying to balance these two things, because in one side you got diplomacy and the other one is got, tough love. Because, like I said, in these times, these vicious people, the ones that landed here on this planet and threw everything off, like I said, the Martian invasion. These people have been poisoning our hearts and minds for ages, right? So the moment you decide that you're going to be more delicate about things or more soft in your approach, well, that's the moment when they start attacking your manhood. It's like, oh, you're a wuss and this and that. What are you, a Democrat? You see what I mean? Like they have sliced everybody in half, divide and conquer. You get what I'm getting at? Is the fact that they have been poisoning the minds of all human beings and separating them, splitting them, dividing them. And in this case, you have one faction that is just, oh my God, they're just too dumb to understand that what they're being asked is, yeah, go ahead and jump off the cliff. Look, everybody else is doing it. It's your patriotic duty to jump off the cliff. And these are some of the most dumb suggestions. See, that's my masculine. I love it. I love this back and forth. Is the fact that you have a lot of guys who are very insecure about their manhood, so they gotta gather all this arsenal, all these things to feel like their heart, when essentially it's really the sign of your insecurity. You acting out of fear. Like, what if? When I first started taking martial arts in a studio, see, because I started training myself in my garage, for like 6 years, I think, before I went to a gym, to a studio. And I think that the reason why is, like, again, is because my spirit was like saying, no, you need to develop yourself in a way where nobody can just, I mean, I don't know, it was, maybe that was the secret head game that was being played in my own self, by my own spirit, that is that, no, you need to develop strength by yourself, then you can go to other places. And when I went to this other place, my instructor was just such a paranoid soul, and he has such issues about women. He was always putting down women, and then I started to realize there's a lot of toxicity within these circles, and now I can't even walk into into the Gracie's studios, because they're really cool people, peaceful guys. I mean, I don't know if it's been coined the name for jiu-jitsu, but Brazilian jiu-jitsu, but I call it the gentle art, this gentle form. It's, if you ever want to try your skills and you don't want to get killed by a jiu-jitsu fighter, make sure that you fight a black belt, because as they say in with the Gracies, they'll go easy on you, they'll just control you. They kind of woke me up, when on my first day, to take jiu-jitsu, because as a Jeet Kune Do man, it's like you have to study all forms of martial arts, so you can see which ones you like or which ones work well with your body. So when I went there, this my instructor was like, okay, so let's say, for instance, this guy's trying to attack you, and he's really coming aggressive after you. What are you gonna do? And so he's like, okay, so let's try the drill. And as he does that, boom, I get in my guard, and I'm just like ready to go, right? And he's like, okay, that's great, you know your stuff. But what if a cop sees you do that in the middle of the street? You're gonna be the one going to jail, because you're the one with the skills, and you're sitting there and in the middle of the street trying to assault somebody. Assault. And again, that's another thing that, if you graze somebody, now it's assault. I grew up in a country where they'll just let you fight. It's like, oh yes, let him go. So like everybody in Mexico, it's accustomed to fighting. Besides, also, like I mentioned yesterday, it's a warring tribe. That's how it started. So you never take the fight out of us. So why did I jump into this? We're just basically demonstrating that people could go wild, but there's gotta be some kind of measure. Like I said, there was the instructor that I had, and he was so paranoid. But what if, and what if, and what if? And then because he has so many issues with women and other people too, I was thinking, yeah, maybe this is not the school for me. So because right away he made me an assistant instructor, and I was there pretty much all day. And not that I wasn't getting paid, it's the fact that he was so demanding. He was like, dude, why aren't you here? It's like if I was sick or something, I couldn't get out of work early enough. He's like, hey, what are you doing? It's like, dude. So we got a lot of that, that there's just guys who don't know when to turn it off. And like I've been showing right now, there's these two halves to me. It's hot, it's hot. I'm doing this in this new in this new environment, or just my living room, because I couldn't do it in my booth. It's too hot. I had to pick up my hair because it's too hot. And underneath, I'm not going commando. But I'm just in my undies because it's hot, and if you're wondering if they're boxers or briefs, they're neither. They're actually hip hugger cut bikinis. See, the two halves manifesting. Well, the reason why I bring it up is because this isn't bad when you're just expressing yourself. But somebody of a sick mind, somebody with the mind in the muck, will say, "Oh, he's a sick bastard, a pervert, or something like that," because I'm doing something that my spirit feels or is driving me to do, because it's just the natural thing to do. Again, feminine consciousness from Mintaka. Throughout history, throughout my lifetimes, I've been with this thing, and in this lifetime, I was like, okay, well, let's figure this out because of all the signs. So I have figured it out. That a lot of the times you're not doing this to be a sicko, or that you're not doing this because you have a pact with the devil, as these people with their minds in the muck are saying. This is just something, the natural tendencies of people. So what am I doing? I'm being my most natural self, because that's how God made me. You know what I mean? Anybody who decides to insult people, see, that's the thing in today's times, that there are people who think that if they call you something, that's it, that's what you are. But no, I remember the words of Dr. Wayne Dyer. They used to say, just because you insult them, that doesn't make them your insult. That makes you a person that has to insult. That basically everybody can see your caliber when you decide to be a Karen or a Ken and go out there and just be an a-hole, because like I mentioned before, it's a lot easier to be an asshole than it is to be a good person, because being a good person takes conscious effort, because you could go I could just but I'm not. You're controlling the bees, you're not feeding the bees, you're being Archangel Michael and you're putting it down. I said, not today, Satan. But the reason why I'm saying this is because a lot of these guys who don't know the difference, and they feel that by smiling they're somehow becoming Democrats or becoming gay. I mean, come on. These are people who don't know anything, and if they call you names, they think that that's it, or they just call your number, which, again, when people, these are the imaginations or the workings of their minds. It's coming out of their minds. Like, people can call you whatever name, can call you a Satanist, but if you're not, then that's not true, right? But that doesn't make it a fact just because this idiot just called you that. If they, what's the other one? A groomer and all these stupid words. I mean, stupid people, because their lexicon is so limited, they have to just keep give each other. Oh, here's another one. Here's another phrase you can use. Here's another slogan. It's so feeble, and again, they don't notice it because their mind is in the muck. And when their mind is in the muck, they're gonna say awful stuff. But again, I want you guys to remember that, or you can point it out, that it's like, hey, you know what, everything that you're saying about me is coming out of you. You can't get orange juice out of an apple, right? You can only get orange juice. We can't get anything nice out of you. And that's who you are. And let's start pointing this out. Let's start, if you will, shaming these little assholes so they can go back into their hole and never bother anybody again. Because as I noticed this morning in a video that I saw, this was somewhere in Russia. This little dude, he's about 15 years old, but he's already grown up. He's about 6'2" or so. So you got this guy who still can't control all that mass that he's carrying. He's trying to act all tough in front of a pregnant woman who's waiting for the bus. So you can tell that this kid had been messing with her for a while, because she went ahead and brought out her camera, her phone, to film this guy just in case he tries something. And sure enough, he did. You can find him in the beginning of the video. He's giving the girl the fingers, 2 fingers. Now again, this is Russia, and this is an American sign, American insult. Do you see what I'm saying? But this stuff has spread all over the world, and it's not just the fact that it's just these are people who love dictators, and no. It's the fact that dictatorship has pulled all the guys to their side and saying, basically playing with their manhood, saying if you vote for them, if you're with them, you're no longer a man. And for a lot of them, they seem to be, that seems to be a very scary thought, that somebody could take your manhood away. How can anybody take your manhood away? If you're it, you're it. The proof is in between your legs. Now, why do you have to do all kinds of things to prove to others that you're it? That shows insecurity. So this little dude is showing the fingers, again, American gestures, and this is the middle of Russia. So this little guy, he starts calling her names. And maybe what I could get out of the gestures was that he was saying what do you want? What do you want when you put the camera away? It's like, you want something? You want something? He went like that. I mean, he's approaching he's trying to get big. It's like, this is a pregnant woman. What do you need to get big for? But again, he's a 15-year-old dweeb trying to start trouble with a female who's pregnant and alone. So he's trying to get big, and he goes like that to her. Like he's saying, well, what, you want one? And she's saying, what I gather, saying, yeah, try it. And he boom, slaps her. And then walks away fast, like he's literally running away. Again, these are the types who have cowardice running through their veins. Number one thing, like I said, is assault. It's pretty much illegal anywhere. That means that these little dweebs have never been checked by anybody. Never. This is why they're doing what they're doing. Some of them are even running for president, because they have never been slapped in the mouth once, and they act like they're almighty powerful, when you can see their behavior is just stemming out of complete cowardice. So this little coward gets that crap beat out of him from one guy that comes from the side, and just takes him down. And I tell you how it was, because it was beautiful. As he's walking away and he's mocking the girl, this guy comes from the other side of the street. And I thought he just jumped on him, but no, there was a quickly and beautiful, fast roundhouse kick to the kid's stomach. This guy was about 30 years old or something. But it was beautiful because he's mocking the girl, the pregnant lady. And he gets kicked right in the stomach, and then the other guy, so as he kicks him, he jumps on him and takes him down by the neck, because he was trying to get him into a guillotine choke, but he fell beside him, so he wasn't able to, right? He fell, so the lock was, you couldn't do the lock. But at that point, he just got up and ground and pound, baby. He just gave him, boom, one, and he went, ah! And then another one, boom, ah! Like that. He was literally crying and whining. Not only that, you're hurting me. This is what I'm talking about. So the guy was telling him basically, get the hell out of here. You don't bother anybody, right? and gives him the biggest kick in the back of the neck. And I'm like, oops, because you can kill somebody there. But maybe it wasn't the back of the neck, maybe it was the back of his head. But he was just pretty much, of course he whined as well. And he got up and just told him, get out of here. So as the guy is walking away, he's getting up like, and saying all kinds of things. Yeah, because now there's distance. So now he's tough again. But, he just got his ass whooped. So, and that's the thing. Not only for this kid, he's going to think about it. It's like, maybe I shouldn't do that. Again, he's going to receive that shock that I received back in Mintaka. And back in this other lifetimes. Where you're just having all kinds of fun. And then something's awful happens to you and shocks the shit out of you. That'll teach you something. So that's what I'm trying to get at, dude. I have these two sides. I have a soft side, but I also have a hard side. And my shadow pretty much is in both sides. Because it's like, it makes me feel shameful if I express this side, my femininity, right? And it makes me feel shameful here if I, unleash on somebody. But then I feel so beautiful and amazing when I'm expressing my femininity, and I feel so strong and amazing when I'm exercising my masculinity. So that basically that tells me that I have made friends with my shadow. And although I don't have most of it figured out, that is what my focus is now. To marry these two sides and make them work in cohesion. I mean, who cares if I have boobies and huge tips and I look all sexy and stuff like an Amazon? I just look like Wonder Woman, right? Because you have those two sides, beautiful and strong. Yeah, because, it's one side is going to lead me to one thing and the other side is going to lead me to another thing. But either way, I'm not going to include shame in the mix. Because this shame was instilled, taught to me by these beasts, these animals that have absolutely no measure, that came from another planet and came down here to throw everything off. That's the evil sword that we have around us. The evil sword that makes us all, all of a sudden, not look within our light and then just go, well, they're doing it too, so I'll do it too. And then all of a sudden everybody's acting very poorly. It was 29:29 when I said that, by the way. I don't know what that is. It's 11:11. But yeah, it's as excited as I was to wake up this morning and do this video. I'm excited also to live my femininity to the fullest, and I'm excited to live my masculinity to the fullest. I'm excited to have my buddy, my friend, my partner, my shadow with me, because nothing about me is shameful. Just because these people said so. These people wouldn't know the light if it bit them in the ass.